Hi, this is Ben, and welcome to another episode of Conquest. This is me playing my LVO Spires list. Well, actually, I changed it after this. Versus Jeff playing his 5th place from LVO Wadrhun list. And yeah, we're playing Maelstrom. So there's a lot of force on this board, which is a little bit interesting because we both have strong shooting units, but we don't have a lot of shooting. It's enough that it can pressure an opponent, but not enough that it really overwhelms things. In a lot of ways, these lists have very similar ideals. I do successfully get my Strix in, so I have both my lights on turn 1, and he has Slingers, and I am pretty sure we both just put character first. His list doesn't roll for reinforcements, which is kind of neat. So I bring Strix on, and I think my plan, I think I just run him up into the woods here. I'm just trying to get cover. I don't want his Slingers to shoot them down for free. And obviously, he's going to bring on his Slingers because they're his light, and he kind of has to. So I'm sitting here, I'm doing measurement. I just want to make sure I don't take, he can't just march on and shoot me. I don't want to take any free damage from that if I can avoid it. So he brings his Slingers on. His plan is to get into be pretty aggressive and get into this forest. He comments that he really wishes he had Sure Shot for this whole game to ignore the woods, but Fire in Advance just does a lot on Predator in a lot of games, and I don't think there's enough terrain to consistently choose Sure Shot over it. So right now we're trying to figure out if the Strix can get to his Slingers and what they're gonna do, and it's just they're Strix, they're dangerous, and they do a lot of damage to Slingers and deny turns of shooting, and then they die and do more damage with lethal demise, and it's just not a situation you want to be in. I probably shouldn't have placed my Strix first. I should have placed them last, so I could just put them somewhere just to hard counter Slingers. I didn't do that, and it kind of hurt me here. Maelstrom is one of the few scenarios you can score on turn 1, and I get a little greedy with that. I kind of can't decide what I want to do with these guys, but I end up just running them up and then reforming to get the high clone just into the zone so I can yoink 2 early points. I feel like there's a lot of value in just getting on the board as fast as possible. So I bring in my Pheromancer with Brute Drones, and I fail all my mediums. So that's another reason why I ended up cutting the Centaur Avatara. I just wanted more mediums to have a more consistent game plan. It just feels really bad when you just fail all your rolls on 2, and you can just be in a really rough spot. He has 2 units of Chosen of Conquest and 3 units of Blooded, and all the Blooded have trackers, and one of the units of Chosen of Conquest has a Scion with Wasteland Adder, which gives them flank. So he actually just gets to bring in his entire army, guaranteed. He doesn't roll for a single reinforcement in his list, and it's just very, very strong. It's very consistent. I personally find flank mediums, especially when they're spammable in any sort of reasonable way, to be a little bit strong. So Jeff rolls a 6, so I'm first. Or sorry, he rolls a 1, so he's first. And he just brings on some Blooded. He's just bringing them on, get them in that center zone, threaten the center zone. I go high clone. I'm just trying to buy time this turn. There's not really a whole lot that I feel like I need to do. So he's bringing in more blooded. He's really just like, I've got to fight over zones, so I'm going to go towards them. I bring on Brute Drones with my Pheromancer. I don't really love where things are at on this table, just because I'm not really able to get good charges with these Brute Drones, like this whole game. The terrain is kind of put in a place where I'm going to almost always be hindered, and it's just a little bit difficult to deal with. So he goes with Predator to generate a token. I go with, or I Pheromance my VCI to give them Tenacious and reroll 6s. That's kind of my go-to if I think they might get shot in a given turn. I just try to get them a little bit tankier. And I give them +1 March so that they have a little bit more of a threat range. So he's measuring. We're doing a lot of this is a lot of trying to figure out if he can actually get to a place to shoot me and not take a charge or a lot of shooting back. So I know we discussed this for a long time. We look at where the Strix can go. We look at where everything can end up. And eventually, yeah, he just moves up and shoots. And he's obscured anyway because I have loose formation, so it doesn't really matter. I believe one of the stands was out of range. Nobody's in effective range, of course. So, mathing it up, I'm gonna roll some dice here. Slingers are volley 3, so he's just doing some shots. So I fail 2 6s, I Tenacious 1 of those away. And then I take an extra one, so. So my Strix go, so he has fire in advance, so he moves back a little bit. I wheel here. I probably should have just he ends up sidestepping. I really don't know. I honestly, I feel like I should have probably reformed the Strix and then just flown into a better spot. I don't know. I misplayed the Strix here. I didn't really have a good play with them. The Slingers were out of position, or my Strix were not in position to deal with the Slingers. So I really should have just reformed to face them and then just marched on into the middle of the center zone. These forests we're playing are not obstructing; they're just obscuring, so I could just shoot him through them. And I really should have just been on the okay, well, I'll just put the Strix facing the Slingers. I'll go first with the Strix next turn, and I'll just be I'm on roll this. I'm just on win priority and charge to get into the Slingers. And I don't know. I just kind of hemmed and hawed a lot with what I was supposed to do with them, and I'm not happy with my Strix play this game. So I get a little bit excited here. I was I'll look for the flank, and I'll do the flank charge. And really, they should have just been protecting the VCI in the middle of covering up the zone. And I didn't do that, and it gives him the ability to get his Chosen of Conquest up the board and into a position that I don't like them in. He's bringing on Blooded. I think he goes what you want to do here is make sure that you're in a line where the Blooded will clip the zone, but that you're still sort of centralized so that you can collapse inward. He goes a little further to the right here than I might have, but he's getting outside of line of sight of the Strix, so I respect that play. So I was gonna have bad shooting here, and realistically, like I said, had I played the Strix differently, then I would have just taken all my shots through the woods and just been cool with that. And instead I did this, and I probably should have just charged Blooded. Or shot Blooded, because if I kill the Blooded, or even break them, then the Strix can safely like charge the Slingers next turn. Instead, those Blooded just get to cause problems for me. And one of the things I always like talk about, and I sometimes don't follow my own advice, is if you have 2 shots and neither one's that exciting, kill the mediums. Those Slingers don't score. If I can get ahead on victory points early, and I'm already going to start this game up 4, right? So if I can get ahead on victory points early, and I can just get rid of or whittle down his medium so that he's unable to score effectively, you can get a pretty huge advantage on Maelstrom. And this is the same thing. Like, I lost to Brian at LVO because I didn't play the scenario properly, and I beat Deco at LVO because I did. And in both those games, I got tabled, but I could have won both of those games had I played the scenario correctly in both of them. And this is just another example of, like, you gotta play... The scenarios are how you win the game. Sure, you can kill your opponent's stuff, that's great, but you win through scenario play. I'm going to fast forward there a little bit, because he was just kind of recreating where his Chosen Conquest stands were going to be set up. And this is another part of the mistake with the VCI that I just made. Had the Strix been over more, and the VCI had been, like, kind of angled to shoot at Slingers, and I shot him through woods or whatever, these Chosen Conquests wouldn't be set up. They wouldn't be able to come onto the board and be set up to just straight charge me. And, well, you know, March, Charge, Clash, because they're Chosen Conquest. Because they have Fanatic of Conquest rule, they're able to chant Tier 3 of Conquest very easily, which gives them +3 March and a 3rd action and +2 evasion. But the 3rd action is the kicker there. Like, that's the good one. That's what we're looking for. So they move up, and they're threatening my center zone. If they go with Conquest, then they just get that off. So he goes here. He crescendos his other Chosen Conquest, so they get a token, and then because of chanting, because of Fanatic, they're able to pretend they have a second token, so that they can come on 13 and jump over his Blooded. And this is like part of the plan of the list, is you can jump your own units with your Chosen Conquest. I think he ends up placing these on the other side of the table from where they are right now. I believe they come in over here to shore up that side. I don't think it actually makes much of a difference. The only information he really has is that I have brute drones kind of this way. I don't like... They're a little safer on this side. There's like less woods over here. So I guess it's a little bit more aggressive. He's definitely going to try to win and turn this flank, is the way it's set up right now. So I have to roll for my 4 mediums again, and my heavies come in, and I fail 2 of my medium rolls again. And this is pretty rough. One of my heavies comes in, and the other one doesn't. So I'm still missing 3 things going into turn 4. Or 3 things that won't come in until turn 4. And it's really difficult. He's all in, and I'm still missing 3 of my units, and we're on a center of board scenario, and it's really punishing, actually. So, and these VCI are hung out to dry here, right? Like, there's Chosen Conquest right in front of them. I'm like, I need to win initiative. I need to turn around. I need to reform, shoot, and then just run 6 inches away and hope that his Chosen Conquest don't catch up. Or I need to like go with Strix and charge the Chosen, but then they get flanked by other Chosen. Like, I'm not in a good position here, and it's not great. It's just I'm just not in a good spot. I pushed way too aggressively into a list that, like, these VCI just needed to not be going forward. I should have given up some shooting and then like barely been touching the zone and had Strix like blocking off the VCI. because I'm going to lose on turn, like, I'm going to lose the turn 3. He's just stronger on turn 3, and I put myself in a situation and I roll a 6. And then I roll another 6. So even with fewer cards in my deck, I still lose priority here. And then he goes, he does the correct play, which is drop Scion, and just full chant his Chosen of Conquest and go obliterate those VCI and just get them right off the table. And they should not have been in a situation, this should not have been possible, right? Like, Strix needed to be between them and where the Chosen could come in, and I just did not plan for it on the previous turn anywhere near well enough. And, you know, I get punished for it. So, you know, there's some, like, formality of rolling dice here. And these are from the impacts, just to make sure I don't die to the impacts. And then I remove them when he has to clash. Like, I think I survived with like 2 wounds, and I was like, okay, well, you're gonna clash, so I just will remove these guys. Strix. Yeah, so I just charge the Strix into the flank here. I have to, you know, you're kind of in the situation where you gotta do what damage you can. And of course, like, Tabletop Simulator has fun game mechanics. But then, like, his Blooded get to charge me back, and then they get to kill off a bunch of Strix. And so, like, this is not great. You know, I was in a situation where, like, pretty bad things happened because I just was too aggressive. It's very important that you can only go for victory points when you can take them safely. And I couldn't take those 2 points last turn safely, and I couldn't take the shots on the Slingers safely. I had an opportunity with my VCI where I could have just, you know, backed up and, like, waited for the rest of my army to come in, and I just simply didn't do that. I played that very poorly. I was far too aggressive. So now Blooded are just gonna go ahead and charge in on some Strix here. I believe he needed like a 2. Maybe it was a 3. I don't know. He got it though, so it doesn't matter. So he charges in. He hits the Strix. Does a bunch of damage, takes a bunch of damage back. I think I make a bunch of saves here randomly, which is terrible. Oh no, okay. So I like take 6. So I take like kind of the worst possible. So I die almost exactly. And then he takes like 7 wounds or something, which is, I mean, about what you expect. I got a stand out of it. So the Incarnate Sentinels are just coming on, and they pretty much just have to square up to the Chosen of Conquest here. There's not really anything I can do. Like, my plan is I just force him to March Charge Clash me, and then I hope I can survive it. He's not going to be able to get all of his stands into the wood, so I'm going to get cover, or his shots are going to be obscured. So I just kind of move up. I try to get in a situation where he Charge Clashes me, or he March Charge Clashes me, and then I countercharge with Brute Drones and hopefully do things. Or if I, like, win priority. So right now I'm considering, do I go for the char, or do I give them more movement right here? And I decide not to. I think, like, looking back, I should have probably gone with Override into the Brute Drones to get the Brute Drones to charge the front of the Chosen of Conquest. And then gone with Pheromancer first on the following turn to try to double clash Chosen of Conquest. But I didn't see that play at the time. So I bring some Avatara up on the right side. We get 1 stand in the terrain so that they can be on the line. This is something I like to do. I like to be if I keep going in a straight line, I will hit the zone with at least one of my stands. I ended up deciding to go like reinforcement line because I can get further up and like get into position to like charge clash some blooded. Doesn't get me in the zone anyways, it doesn't really matter. Oh yeah, that's right. 14's a lot. So yeah, so I run up, I get in the zone. He's only got one stand in. So I'm like, well, I can at least score this. I can bring these guys up here. And then hopefully I can charge clash some blooded next turn. Or, you know, if he charges me, I flank him, and then, because they're both Avatara, so if he charges me, I flank with these Avatara, and then hopefully that frees up the Avatara that he charges. They can, like, kind of play the game better. So he goes with Chosen of Conquest. He just kind of moves them up. Those ones have already gone, so it's the little unit, and they don't really have a lot that's exciting for them to do. They're not really in range to March Charge Clash Avatara. They could March Charge Avatara, but then if I go first with Avatara and Charge Clash their flank, and that they take a ton of damage, they don't want that. So they just like move up a little bit to play a little bit more cautiously. And this is a good example. Like Jeff outplayed me this game. He played more cautiously when he needed to play cautiously less. And he still played carefully and conservatively against me, and I played honestly like foolishly and aggressively when I needed not to because I had failed all my priority rolls. Or all my reinforcement rolls. So yeah, the Chosen just move up, and they get into a place where if my Avatara charge blooded, he can probably flank charge me, which is of course my whole plan. It's pretty rough because I'm very out-activated on cards right now, so I just don't get to do anything that I want to do. I can't really commit anything because he has more cards waiting. His Slingers get to go last, so I just have to like kind of mosey forward a little bit. It's not like I can just run at the Chosen of Conquest and like March charge them or something and get some advantage that way. It's just I can't really do anything. It's a little frustrating. I'm trying to like make sure that I can get past my Incarnate Sentinels on the wheel. Like I just want to not hit them. So trying to make it so that he can't really, you know, if he goes for the March Charge Clash into Brute Drones, he doesn't really get out of the line of sight of the Incarnates. And I really just don't want him to charge and kill the Brute Drones. Like my game plan has to be he is going to charge my Incarnate Sentinels, and then my Brute Drones are going to countercharge him. So the rest of my list comes in, and his list is already all in. I jumped the gun there because I forgot the Slingers hadn't gone yet this turn. So he moves up, and he takes some shots here. This is a little frustrating because all of his shots are obscured, or maybe one of them's not. I don't remember. But it looks like that one probably is. Maybe he can draw it without hitting, but the other guys are all obscured. And I take a lot of damage here. I take like 7 wounds from this, and I should take like 1. And then I tilt from that. Like you shouldn't get upset about dice rolls. They're part of the game. But but yeah, like that. I just fail. I just took 3 wounds from the regular guy. I took 6 wounds, and I believe I fail one of these like 2 resolves. Yeah. So yeah, I take 7, and I really my expected damage is like literally 1 or like 1.4 or something, and It's just it was just it was an unhappy moment for me. And it puts me in a pretty bad spot here too, because with the other with my reinforcement roll issues, I really was relying on those Incarnate Sentinels to like hold the center. Like they needed to hold at least for a couple of turns just to give everything a chance to like get in. And losing over a stand just really hurt that. It hurt that game plan a ton. So now we're building stacks, and we'll fast forward a little bit because there's a lot of thing that goes into this turn. I mean, it's the obvious part is he's going to go Scion into Chosen of Conquest because he doesn't have any token, or maybe he has a token. I don't know. There's 4 tokens over there. But yeah, he's gonna go with Chosen of Conquest, and he's gonna march Church Clash into Incarnate Sentinels. Like that's what they want to do. I end up like going for the playing for going second. I did consider. I don't know. I'm really still not sure about like a lot of the choices I made in this game. I'm not super happy with them. I'd gotten kind of unlucky, so I probably should have used Override on the previous turn to guarantee the Charge Clash, and then just been like, you know what, some stuff went wrong. I need to win priority, because if I do, I can just clean those Chosen to Conquest off the table. A Charge Clash plus Aura of Death from the Incarnate Sentinels has a really good chance of killing that Chosen Conquest unit. But yeah, I go for the I'm gonna go second plan because I have more cards in my deck now, and so I just go with Avatara to try to do as much damage to Blooded as I can. And then, like, they do pretty well here, but they are unable to finish off the Blooded. I think they're supposed to kill them on average. Because you should do 3 impact hits, which should be 3 wounds, because they'll fail 2 saves and then fail 1 resolve. And then you should do 8 and 2/3, cleave 1 hits, which should do about 7. That should put them at about 10. Maybe they only are supposed to take like 13 or 14. It's close. It's close. It's within the realm of possibilities to kill them, but you're not like guaranteed to do it by any means. But if I had moved the Incarnate Sentinels up last turn with Override, I could have gone for the Charge Clash here, and my expected output is actually like pretty good into the Chosen Conquest. So realistically, after some early things had gone wrong, I should have gone for the all-in plan of just come on like 6 wide with the Incarnate Sentinels, gone straight at them, Override for effectively Vanguard, and then just been like, all right, I'm first. Hope I win priority on 2 or on 4, and then if I do, just go for the Charge Clash, and it's just so many hits, it should just kill them. And if it doesn't, the AOD 24 that comes in afterwards probably will finish them off. So I take like a little bit more than average damage here, but it's not crazy. Really, the Slingers were the thing that was like super egregious. But I do take a lot of damage. Like I lose 2 more stands, and I shouldn't, like, again, if I had taken what I was supposed to from the Slingers, I'd still have my full front rank. And then what I would probably have done here is, instead of healing, I would have just gone for the like double clash and tried to like do as much damage to Chosen as I could have. But when I was already down a stand, and then like that would have probably killed off that other stand and then broken me, I couldn't afford to like have a bad decay roll. So I just didn't do it. So yeah, so his blooded, he draws a Scion card, and I believe he's casting. I think he's supposed to be drawing blooded here. Oh yeah, so he goes with Scion, and he cast no draw events on my Incarnate Sentinel, so I was unable to use my Pheromantic Override to get an extra clash action. And so that's what he was doing. He was deciding what he was going to do. So I bring Centaurs on here. I bring them on to threaten the flank of the Chosen of Conquest. So I'm just trying to line them up so that his Blooded are still in my front, his Chosen are still in my flank, or are still in my arc of visibility. I obviously can't charge them immediately, so I just want to like be careful there. This is probably a mistake. I likely should have just used them to reinforce the right side of the board. My Avatara are setting a pretty good, or like were setting a reinforcement line, but I could just run those guys up the right flank and just be like, all right, well, the plan is to overload the right side and then to turn the board left. Hopefully, like, I'm ahead on VPs, and hopefully I can stay ahead on VPs, keep him out of that center zone, keep him out of this outside zone, you know, just really just try to push my, like, victory point advantage, and then keep the Tontorr on the direction that I'm trying to turn to. So I really should have brought these guys in over here and then tried to turn this flank. I needed to just trust my brute drones into the flank of Chosen of Conquest. Especially, like, sometimes you don't want to make those trusts. You don't want to trust things like that. But in this case, like, I'm far enough behind because of the way dice have been going that I have to actually, like, trust that something is going to start rolling well. And that's probably the easiest way to tilt in the game, is have some bad rolls and then you start expecting every roll to be bad, but you can't, if you can't win with bad rolls, then you have to just start relying on good ones sometimes. You have to look for whatever avenue you can find to try to win games. It's like, all right, well, can I win if I roll average? No. How good do I have to roll? Like, what's the worst I can roll and still win this game is a question I ask myself a lot. But I was very frustrated at my Incarnate Sentinels this game, and I, quite frankly, was just on tilt. So those are Vanguard clones. They're coming up the left side, and they're trying to get to within 10 inches of Blooded so that they can charge on a 4 and the Blooded need a 5, and it's not like that much better, but they're you know, they can play they'll just play chicken with Blooded. He draws more Blooded, and he just backs up. He doesn't want to go for that charge, and he certainly doesn't want to fail it and then get charged the next turn. And he doesn't want to get charged by Centaur Avatara. So I go trying to, like, turn this board the wrong direction. Like, I'm relatively strong on my right side, and by overloading the left side of the board like I am here, I'm just abandoning my Avatara. 2 Avatara are probably not going to safely beat Chosen of Conquest. You really need to overwhelm things. One of the old adages of war is, like, if you put, or I mean of war games at least, if you put 500 points of something into 100 points, you're going to kill 100 points and lose nothing. If you put 100 points into 100 points, you're both probably, like, somebody's going to win, but you're both going to be pretty, like, beat up. So it really behooves you to put a lot more effort into killing something. And then taking basically nothing back because of it. And then, like, continuing to apply, like, that concentration of force. You don't want a bunch of even fights. You never want an even fight. Like, that's... You know who wants even fights? Trolls, because they have regen 6. Under Spires, brute drones want even fights. Because they're not even, because they're healing. So still, you never want an even fight. Yeah, so I fail, like, I take, like, 5 wounds from that trample on defense 4. And, I mean, I was more salty about that than I should have been, because, like, that's not actually that high. But it did suck a little bit. These Avatara, they realize that there's not really much that they can do. So, you know, I'm like, well, Chosen of Conquest have impact attacks. I guess I'll just March Charge them. I think I might have been in range to, like, roll this charge, and honestly, looking back, that might have been worth doing. I think I would have needed, like, a 6, because I did give +1 March to them, but I don't know if charging in was good, so it might have been one of those situations where if it would have just been better to just roll the charge. Oh, I gave them it looks like I gave them +1 resolve. That's why I changed the token out. Yeah, I knew I was going to have to March Charge with them, or the Chosen of Conquest were going to have gone before, and they would have flank charged the Avatara, and then it would have been an auto-in charge, so I wasn't going to need to roll it. Yeah, so it was probably out of range or automatically in range. So the Brute Drones are just going to go for the flank charge into some Chosen of Conquest here. And I like to make copies of units before I try to wheel through stuff, because it gets weird. So I charge in. I go into the flank. I hit 2 stands of the terrain, which is frustrating. So I don't get my impact hits. And I mean, this is where we rely on the brute drones, right? Like the brute drones needed to do some pretty good work here. And I mean, they did like 8 hits, and I think the character did like 3 hits or something. So yeah, it was 11, and then just saved 7 of them. And I was like, oh man, like I'm feeling like very defeated right now. Yeah, so he takes 3 hits from that whole like charge, or 3 wounds from that whole charge clash, and I'm just like, I don't know what I can do. Like I'm feeling like I'm just really not able to get anything going in this game. And so he goes to Chosen Conquest, and he just Inspire clashes into some Avatara. You know, he hits with 12 out of 16 on 4s. It's pretty normal. I actually saved really well. Well, I saved exactly average. I saved 6. And then I'm resolved 5 from the thing, so I took 7 total. Which, you know, whatever, I don't break. The resolve, giving myself +1 resolve did save me some wounds. His Blooded are not able to score the center zone because my Brute Drone is in there. You can only get 1 stand-in. Slingers move up, and they take some pot shots at Incarnate Sentinels. I think one of them like almost couldn't see because of the Tontorr, but you can kind of draw that angle like pretty sharply, so it was okay. Yeah. So he's just measuring to make sure he can get in range and take some shots at the Incarnate Sentinels. I think he does like another like 5 wounds here. Um, yeah. So yeah, I like. Yeah, so I just I take like 6 hits from those guys, and I fail 4 out of the 6 from the slingers. And I just like it's just another round of shooting where so he has 3 hits or 3 shots from the predator. They should do about 1.5 wounds. Um, well, he should hit with 75% of them, so that's 2.25 hits, and then I should save half of those. So I should take like 1.12 from them. And then the slingers, he has 6 shots, they're on 3s, or 7 shots, they're on 3s, so it's 3.5 hits. And I should take maybe 1 from those, because I should save 2/3 of them. So I should take maybe 2 wounds from that shooting, and I took 6. And I took 12. So yeah, the 2 rounds of shooting I should have taken maybe 4 wounds from them, and they did 13. And it's just like there, I needed that to not happen. Like I need those incarnates to be able to hold the center line, and they just couldn't this game, and they just died. Like just died for free. At least like the incarnates clash did okay. Like I unbroke with my lineage highborne, and then I attacked, and I did a little bit of damage. And then I believe I lose priority here. We're building stacks again. I'm not really sure why we're thinking about it too much, because there's honestly basically nothing I can do. So he wins priority. He goes with a Tontorr. He just charges in and charge, clash, trample, kills my centaurs here. And this is another reason why just there was no reason for my centaurs to be over here. Right, they're there to threaten the Tontorr. And if I have all my stands for my Incarnate Sentinels, then he has to like charge, clash. He kills the Sentinels, sure, like they definitely die. Um, but then he only does some impacts and tramples into the centaurs, and I'm probably in a better spot. Or if, God forbid, I actually live, then he's stuck there, and he gets flank charged by centaurs, and front charged by onslaught drones, which should kill him. But it's a lot of hits. I feel like I rolled more dice than I should have there. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if Chieftain attacks happened. So yeah, from the impacts, so it should be 3 impacts, which I get like 1s against, and then it should be the 10 tramples. Oh, that's right. He got charge, clash. He got charge, clash, trample into me. So my Incarnate Sentinels go. They do what they can to these Chosen of Conquest. And, it's not really enough, but... So, Chosen go. they're getting full chance. They take Aura of Death 8 here at the start, which I think actually does look pretty well. But they do finish off the Incarnate Sentinels. And then I think they do a couple damage to the Brute Drones, but I don't think they even kill a stand. So yeah, they take... Oh yeah, so that gets a stand out of there. So he ends up not quite broken from that. Yeah, I think he's not quite broken from that. And so then he finishes off the Incarnate Sentinels with, I think, just the Scion. Like, there's basically no way I survive just the Scion's attacks. And then he puts, like, one Chosen of Conquest and the one supporting attack into the Brute Drones. Brute Drones take a couple, and yeah. Lineage Highborne goes. She's dead, obviously. So then Centaurs were also dead. So then Avatara go. And I just go for Clash, no Inspire to kill off that remaining Blooded Stand, and then I go for this flank charge. The goal here is I just want to maintain my zone for as many turns as I possibly can. I'm just trying to maximize my own score here, because the writing's on the wall. I misplayed a lot of things this game, and I don't really think that there's any way for me to come out of this. As you can probably tell by the video duration, I'm going to concede here in like the end of this turn. I really was hoping to kill at least one stand of Chosen there, because if I could, but like it was only impact hits, so that's very unlikely. But if I go with my other Avatara before his Chosen of Conquest go, I could maybe get rid of one stand. So his Blooded can't quite see. They can't really charge the Avatara because they would run into their Chosen of Conquest, so they're just kind of in a like rough spot. That is technically a 2-stand. We really should have, like, yeah, I'm actually fixing it down here so that you can, yeah, there we go. So now it's, like, more visible about what it is. He just decides to get them both in the zone. Set up, plan his charge Brute Drones next turn, be slightly out of their front arc. So the Chosen have already gone, the Blooded have already gone. The only thing that's really, like, gonna threaten me are Slingers at this point. I'm deciding on my Pheromancy, and I'm pretty sure all I do is just heal. I'm not really sure, though. I'm measuring a lot of stuff. I don't know. I think this game is over, and I know it, and I'm like I'm trying to play well, and I'm just overthinking things ultimately. So I put the Brute Drones on the bottom, and I'm pretty sure I just heal 3 wounds here. I think I was just trying to determine whether it was better to heal wounds or get Tenacious, and I was like, whatever, I'll just heal. But I don't know, I guess we were talking about it a lot. So I don't know. I accelerated Hibernation and heal up my Brute Drones, and I'm like, that's the correct choice, and there wasn't really any other choice that was even remotely close. So then he's up, and he chose Chosen of Conquest, and they hit with 13 out of 15 into my Avatara, and my Avatara die. And then they just reform into base space. Because they have 3 actions, and that's what you do when you have 3 actions. I don't remember if I just like I don't think I roll this. I think I moved to like 10 inches away again. I think it was, oh yeah, he moved outside of charge range. So I had decided, I'm like spending a lot of time thinking about whether or not I should just like try to march charge Slingers, or march charge Blooded. And honestly, march charge Blooded was probably correct. Because at least I take away shock from him then. And stop him from scoring the zone for 1 turn. But only if he doesn't kill a sand, which he's going to, so I don't know. Maybe I should have march charged Slingers and then hoped I was out of line of sight from the Blooded. And just like seeing if that worked out. But I don't know if I had the movement for it. I don't know. We were in a rough spot. Onslaught drones go into a Tontorr. I love Onslaught drones. They do significantly large. They do pretty like reasonable chunks of damage. Like they have a bunch of attacks. They hit on 4s with Bloodlust or whatever, with Burnout. And so they get in, like they do 6 wounds. And then he like I think he fails like 3 of these. Yeah, so they do like 8 wounds to a Tontorr, which I don't know, it's about a third of the Tontorr's health. They cost about a third of the Tontorr. Less with the rider, like they cost less than a third of this Tontorr, so that's fine. They're happy about that. They did their job. My root drones go. They inspire clash, and they do well this time. They do 15 hits, and the Pheromancer does 1 hit, so he didn't do it nearly as well. Because they're evasion 3, so it's just all the same. And then Jeff fails like 9 of those saves on 3s, so like that was good. I was happy for him to like have a bad save roll there, but he was down to like 11 total wounds, so it mattered, but you know, it worked out. Like at least the Chosen Conquest died. These guys reform and just shoot. I give him an appropriate sized one. I don't know why I didn't do that on a previous turn, but I've got to be better about like actually changing those out, because we use the markers to show that stuff's dead, because locking and unlocking the stands when they're engaged tends to like lock all the trays together, and it gets very sub-ideal. So he goes in, he does some shooting. The brute drones take like damage that they're supposed to take from this shooting. Actually, they still took a little bit more than they probably should have taken. They took like 8 wounds from just the arrows. It was still pretty high. Because, yeah, they should take about 2 from the Predator, and then from the Slingers, they should take, let's see, it's like 7 shots, 3.5 hits, 1.75 wounds after saves. So they should have taken about 4, and they took 8, so they took about double what they were supposed to. That's just the story of this game. The Slingers really performed excellent voodoo magic on my save rolls. So at this point, like, there's no way I can come back from this, right? The Avatara are going to lose to the Chosen Conquest on this side of the board, or on my right side. The Tontorr is clearly going to defeat the Onslaught drones. Maybe these Brute drones lose to these Vanguard clones, but definitely Blooded and Slingers are going to be able to kill the remaining Brute drones here. So and then the Tontorr is going to be able to turn around and take this. So I maybe could score like 2 more points if these guys like make their charge clash into blooded. But that's really like all I've got going for me here. Because Tontorr is going to clash reform charge. Because Mantle is a very good item. And I believe we play that out. I'm going to just fast forward through this because really this game is over. Ultimately, I really misplayed this. I should have like counter deployed on the other side of my Incarnate Sentinels so that the Tontorr didn't just get to like run through a bunch of things for free. And that the Slingers didn't have as much target saturation as they wanted. And I misplayed where my Incarnates were and my Strix. And I mean, this just goes to show like you can have an off game. And if you do have an off game, you're going to lose. This game is won and lost by the player, not by the list, not by the dice. Like I made a myriad of mistakes in this game. And Jeff played really well. Like I think that his Tontorr probably shouldn't have charged into the Incarnate Sentinels. He should have just gone into the Centaur Avatara initially, and his Supremacy roll like made up for it. But he did risk the Tontorr. Like if I win the Supremacy roll and I had gone first with Centaurs, they do a ton of damage to a Tontorr when they charge Clash it in the flank. So yeah, the Tontorr clashed. He chanted Conquest 3. He clashed. He killed the Onslaught drones. He reformed, or marched, I guess. Like wheel marched, and then charged. And then the impacts plus trample killed those guys off. So I'm going in here. I think I kill these blooded. I get some impact hits, and then like there's not a lot of blooded left. So yeah, we just say yeah, the blooded die. But the Chosen are clearly going to beat the Avatara. The Slingers are going to kill these brute drones in a turn or two. And I didn't even go like because the Tontorr was able to just pick up 2 units on his own. It's just too much. There's nothing doing about that. So this one's over. I can see it on the end of 7 here, and we just Jeff's gonna score out because the Tontorr is just gonna like reform, march charge into brute drones, and then that plus Slingers. Like the brute drones aren't gonna kill the Tontorr before the Tontorr and Slingers kill them. And then yeah, like the Avatar are already almost dead. They're no longer in the zone. I'm not even scoring. Like I don't even know if they survive this turn. It looks like they do, but it's not gonna save them. So yeah, this is a game where I played very, very poorly and I lost, and that is what happens when you play poorly in Conquest. It's one of the things I absolutely love about this game. The person who played better on any given day is gonna win. At LVO, I lost to Brian because he outplayed me, and that's what happens. So remember, guys, take zones, but only if you're not going to sacrifice something for them. It's not worth. Regiments are worth more than victory points, but like you need victory points to win. But you can't just throw away regiments to grab like 2 points, and especially important regiments like VCI. And that's what I did this game, and it punished me really hard. And then the dice were like, no, you need to lose for your transgressions, and they did not give me any help in trying to have my mistake not get punished. So sometimes mistakes get punished, and this is one of those times. Thanks everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notifications about every upload. I'm gonna upload at least one of these a week. I want to get more, and I want to start doing some other content, but life's a little hectic right now, mostly because of the world schedule. I just got back from LVO, and then I'm going to Captain Con next weekend, so we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna play a variation of an Under Spires list there, and I'm pretty excited because I kind of gave Under Spires to Carl because we didn't really want to play the same list, and he had been testing it more, and he really enjoyed it. So, and I don't enjoy Under Spires as much as I do Lineage, Sovereign Lineage, but I do find like Under Spires to be the best list in Spires right now. So, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys next week.